gentlemen, thank you for joining me. I am the Fuzz, and I hope to entertain you. We're gonna have a very short discussion about this really interesting card in the game of Spellweaver called the Runelit Incarnate. The reason I want to talk about it, it's because this card might just be the leading candidate for the most cause of misplays in the game. It's because the way it interacts with some of the mechanics in the game, let's just say they're not too intuitive, and I've seen countless people misplay it. Hell, I've even misplayed once or twice with it, and that's because you don't immediately get an idea of fully what the effects do. So let's go over them real quick. So first of all, attack and health equal to energy. Okay, that's pretty obvious, right? It has 1 energy, and then at the start of turn, gains energy. Now that's not to understand, not too difficult to understand, right? But what about that third line? If it is dealt damage, it loses that much energy instead. Now that is where the magic comes from. So if you're reading this, you probably might think, okay, so if it's a 4/4, it kills a 2/2, well then it gets reduced to a 2/2. What's so difficult to understand? Well, it's the fact that that little word at the end that says instead, because it means the Runelit Incarnate doesn't actually take damage. The damage is instead converted to the effect which removes the energy counters. Well, let's just say that this causes a few interesting interactions in the game. First of all, this card is bad against ranged creatures, because the ranged creature will deal damage first and take the energy away. So if you have a 5/5 Runelit Incarnate and it fights a 3/3 ranged creature, the ranged creature will deal 3 damage, and then the Runelit will only have 2 energy left and not kill the ranged creature. That said, it is very good against deadly creatures, because again, it doesn't take damage. If this fights a Shadow Step Assassin, the assassin will, hit it for 1 damage, but the damage will just get subtracted from the energy. It doesn't actually get assigned to the Runelit. Long story short, Runelit does not die from deadly. But wait, there's more. Not only does it not die from deadly, if it fights a creature that has deadly and more than 1 attack, let's say a Dread Knight, a 6/6 with deadly, right? It takes 1 damage from it, because any creature with deadly will assign exactly 1 damage to this creature, because it'll think, okay, 1 damage is all I need to kill it. Except that, again, it'll just convert that effect into take away 1 energy, and that's it. So yeah, this guy can tank a Dread Knight. Pretty impressive. But wait, there's more. Not only is it deadly straight up bad against it, so the Lifebound ability also doesn't affect it. If you attack this creature and you have Lifebound, you will not get any life for the same reason, because you're not actually dealing damage to it. And now here's possibly my favorite. If you get this interesting idea, hey, you know what, I'm just gonna cast Flash Freeze on the Runelit Incarnate, and then I'll kill it with a second Flash Freeze, you're gonna be disappointed to find out that Flash Freeze does basically nothing to it. It'll still take away 1 energy, sure, it'll freeze it, except that freezing this thing doesn't do anything to it, because it's never assigned any damage. As a matter of fact, freezing the Runelit Incarnate makes it more powerful. How is this possible? Well, much like with Deadly, a creature that is frozen only needs to be assigned 1 damage to be killed. Well, you know what that means, right? If the Runelit is frozen, if something attacks it, it'll think, hey, that guy is frozen. 1 damage, please. And Runelit doesn't die. Isn't that fun? So, Deadly doesn't work, Lifebound doesn't work, Freezing doesn't work. But wait, there's more. Since this creature doesn't actually take damage, the only condition in which it's actually killed, outside of removal, is that it just runs out of energy and it's a 0/0 and then dies. But what if it didn't? What if it had a might counter on it? Well, at 0 energy, it would still be a 1/1, right? Wait, so what happens if he gets dragon fired? Nothing. Because, again, it doesn't take damage. But if it's out of energy, it can still not take damage, even if it has no energy to give up. It doesn't go into negatives or anything like that. So if you give this thing a might counter, it cannot be killed in combat by anything. Anything. Fun times. So, yeah, that's all the interactions I can think of. I just wanted to lay that out there so that people understand what's going on, because this card can be very confusing to play against. You'll know it the first time when you have a 2/2 Incarnate and your opponent attacks it with a 1/2 Shadow Step Assassin, and then he's confused as to why the Runelit didn't die. So, yeah. I wonder if the developers intend to change this, because while it is hilarious, it's kind of... It seems to make this card unnecessarily powerful. I mean, immunity to deadly and freezing? Why? Why does it have those things? It's already very dangerous. Only really kept in check because Blood Witch Harpy just eats it for breakfast. Yeah, whatever. Anyways, I just wanted to do my service to the community and inform everyone who may not be familiar with this card how to deal with it. Do not freeze it. Do not attack it with deadly creatures. Don't bother with Lifebound. And if it's a might counter, if it has a might counter, well, you're going to be really sad. I hope you brought removal. And if you have ranged creatures, those are effective against it. But only if they can survive the weakened version of the Incarnate. Anyways, that's all I wanted to cover. Thank you for stopping by. And I'll see you guys next time.